Hello, friends. Welcome to the finale of my next life as a villainess. All routes lead to doom. We
Do,
are.
do, do.
So, we're talking about the last three episodes. The 10 and 11 is a two-part. Moment of My Doom has arrived, part one, part two, and the final event has begun. What? So, we're going to find out and talk about if Katarina dies or if she's exiled and is now farmer Katarina, living in the woods by herself, doing what she does best, I guess, technically, which is farming.
Farming.
Farming, and then literally making everyone else deal with it. But so that's what we are going to talk about. So, I my name is Gwen. I haven't introduced myself. Hi, this is a podcast. This podcast is called Super Otome World, where I am accompanied by my good friend Wintie. Wintie, hello.
Hello, peoples of Earth.
Hello, mortals. Um, so we this last three episodes took a complete different turn in considering the last couple episodes that happened. They were kind of fluffy. There was a little mystery and a little dark to it. Um, but it literally, I mean, the titles say it all. The moment my doom arrived. So
I was so shocked with how it turned, actually. I did not expect that such a change of, pace from so happy, fluffy
right.
to what started happening in, the last three episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I remember our first episode, the prediction, we both had, no clue where the series was going. And I definitely didn't have an idea where it was going,
No.
especially in these last three episodes.
Exactly. So it kind of starts off. Um, she gets cornered, doesn't she? She gets cornered by the girls.
Yeah, so it
Yeah.
starts off with they're all of a sudden she gets called to, a meeting with all the students of the school, and she remembered this scene from that happened in the game where she was pretty much told that, hey, you've been a bully to Maria this whole time. We've seen what you do. We have proof, concrete proof, evidence that you've been a terrible person and you've done a whole bunch of evil stuff to Maria.
Mm-hmm.
And in the game, I remember it was supposedly was she said this is where she met her doom, but she remembered it opposite of what's happening already, as in this just regular students who were accusing her and not the main characters like it was in
Right.
the game.
Right. And that's kind of she feels like even though she's everything's been great up until this point, what if you can't change your fate regardless of how the people feel about you because all the main characters walk in and they kind of have this look and she literally feels like this is the end. And then they kind of chime in and they're like, none of that has happened. Absolutely not. And then pretty much Maria is the one that says she has done absolutely nothing. She's my best friend. She's done nothing wrong and all this. Um,
It
so
was
she
so funny though. They all were protecting her, but at the same time insulting Katarina at the
I know
exact same time.
she's too dumb to do any of those things. She's not smart enough to scheme anything of the sorts that you're accusing her of. She's just kind of a blockhead. And she like as slowly as like, wait, what? Is this really how they feel about me? Is this really what they think that I am? Is
She's like, I thought they were
stupid?
helping me, but I honestly feel so attacked right now.
She's like, I don't know how I feel about this, but okay. So that kind of is the start of kind of the what the heck is going on. So they start to leave and they're starting to speculate a little bit. And then they kind of it's because Maria doesn't leave yet. She's part of the group that's speculating and reading over it, right? Or she never.
So, if you remember in the previous episode with the cave, remember how Maria saw that dark shadow?
Well, yeah, but I remember they start going through the documents, but I can't remember if it was everyone minus Maria were there, or was Maria there when they went over
No,
the
Maria was there.
documents?
Yeah, all of them were there.
So that's the part where they kind of go over it and are like, this is too detailed. This is like, not just something someone's coming up to be a bully. Like, this is as if it were real. Like, this could be completely believable if you didn't know who Katarina was.
Mm-hmm.
So it's then after that they're walking and Maria sees something and tells everyone to go on ahead, and then she says she has something to do, but Katarina kind of wants to go with her, but she kind of respects her wishes and lets her go by herself.
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes
Which
missing.
then she regrets it later on. Yeah.
Right, because she goes
Um,
missing.
and then Maria actually, she's shown signs. So the reason why she stepped back after she saw it again is because she's seen this same, what she was seeing was like a dark aura, a shadow. And
Mm-hmm.
she's seen it 3 times now before she disappeared. So she saw it that time in the cave, and then she saw it again with the
With the
people who were
girls.
trying to accuse Katerina of bullying when they were running away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what made her kind of decide when she saw it one more time when they were all walking to go after it, which she should have had somebody with her, but
Yeah.
you know.
Details. Details. Um, so yeah, so then they kind of like, hey, where did she go? No one knows where she's at. Everyone starts to try to find her, and they can't find her. So now they don't know what's going on. They're very worried about her. Um, and then um, Gerardo goes and meets Katerina in her quarters as he's done some investigating and finds out that the so-called evidence that the girls made didn't remember that happened. They don't remember what was written. They don't even remember that they confronted, or I guess quote unquote confronted Katerina. To them it never happened. So he looks more into it and he finds out that the only thing that could cause this is dark magic, which no one knows about. Very few people know about. And you're not born with it. You have to
Acquire it.
acquire it. You have to acquire the dark magic. And the only way to acquire the dark magic is by taking someone's life. So you essentially have to have a human sacrifice to be able to acquire the dark magic. So then
From
Katerina is worried. Who has dark magic wants to come after me? Who has dark magic that would want to potentially go after Maria? But they also find out that the only people who can see dark magic are people with light magic. And really the only magic that can combat dark magic is light magic. So that comes to the conclusion of whoever has this dark magic has taken Maria.
hmm And after she was told this by Giordo, the night afterwards, she started having, Katerina had a hard time falling asleep.
Mm-hmm.
She started dreaming about an ending, I guess, where everybody that she knows and loves has died right in front of her.
Mm-hmm.
And from that, she couldn't sleep for a very, very long time. And the next day, she is at school and she passes out because she had no sleep. So, and she ends up in the school nurse, obviously, because she passed out.
Mm-hmm.
And she wakes up and she leaves the school nurse telling them that she's all fine. Now, during the time when she visited Giordo, he did tell her, once he figured out that she was being
Targeted.
targeted, to not go anywhere alone. And of course, Katerina, she's like, oh, I should be fine. She doesn't listen to being told something that she should definitely heed.
Mm-hmm. So she meets the friendly Sirius in the courtyard. Good old friendly lovable student body president who
thunk.
we thunk. So in our previous podcast, Wintie had pointed out that she felt like he had a greater role to play because he kind of encouraged things that caused the strange things to happen, such as the library and the book.
Liked her.
He kind of was the person who encouraged certain things. He kind of was like, "Oh, you should go here," and then like something happened, and he kind of was like always a little bit in the shadows, and it felt like he kind of was presented like he had an important role, but he never had an important role.
I just thought that he liked her, and so he was jealous of everybody else. And like,
Right.
I thought that maybe something would happen, but I didn't. Well,
Expect this.
that's what's gonna happen. Yeah, I just, oh god, my
So
heart.
they start to talk, and she flat out asks him, "Do you have dark magic?"
But that didn't come into being though until after she started remembering.
Yes,
When she
she's
was confronting her and talking, and she saw his, his dark clouded face, smiling.
well,
Totally.
smiling. Yes, and she starts remembering her previous friend who in her previous life does kind of try to spoil the game for her and say that there is a character
A
that has
hidden
dark,
character.
right, a hidden character, a hidden route that has dark magic.
And that if you don't romance this hidden character in time, he will kill all your friends.
Yep.
Dun, dun, dun. And then
Dun
lo and
dun
behold,
dun. Lo and
she asked him.
she asks him, and this happens. Dark magic ensue. So, yeah. So dark magic happens. He goes a little crazy. He starts to do the crazy anime boy eyes. He starts to laugh, and kind of is hella creepy. And yeah, he bad.
And then he
He
uses
bad.
his Yeah,
He
and then
goes
he uses
crazy.
his magic on Katarina,
Mm-hmm.
because he said he hated her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's really but then you see that when he did say he hated her and he put her to sleep, he was crying.
He was.
I
He.
mean,
I
that'll come
think
into
he
play
was. I
later.
think he was conflicted because he did like Katarina, and I don't think he knew why he didn't like that he had this hatred towards her. I think it was confusion because probably of his past, of how he came to be. Um,
Yes.
but in this altercation or meeting, he uses his dark magic and goes a little crazy and puts her to sleep. And this is the image she sees before she falls asleep. Him looking sad, dematerializing right in front of her. So she passes out. End
Sad
of
face.
episode 10.
Yeah, I
So
remember when that happened. Oh God, I hated the ending. I was like, "You're gonna leave me here. There's nothing for me else to watch."
at least it was to the point where the rest of the episodes were out where you didn't have to like wait a week for to see the end. Because that's also kind of bad. Like I like watching seasonal anime as it's coming out because it's new, it's something to watch, and you're kind of like up to date. But once you start getting towards the end of the anime, you're like, well, shit. I want to know
Yeah.
what
Oh
happens, but then
God.
you have to wait a whole week. Um, but we were late bloomers to this, so we could watch all three in one sitting. So yeah, that was kind of a intense ending that caused for a lot of the next episode that was very kind of sad.
I was confused in the
I was
beginning
a
of the
little
first.
confused too because I didn't know which world was supposed to be the real world, if that makes sense.
I kind of jumped to our conclusion when the next episode starts. You remember how we said in the very first episode we thought that she was not actually dead?
Mm-hmm.
And we thought that she was just in a coma. And so in the next episode, when she wakes up, she's in her old life.
Yes.
And so I started really freaking out. I was like, oh my gosh, were you right? Was this like all a dream and maybe what happened was serious? She like awakens again?
But she also still doesn't have any eyes.
Yeah, true. Actually, no, she did have eyes.
Oh, she did? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what also threw you off because she did finally have eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Because before she did not. So she's going about her life, but keeps having like an overlay between both lives where she would say something like, oh, well, what about. She's like, wait a second. Who was I just thinking about? Like, she kept trying to be like, oh, well, let's go talk to Mary. And someone would be like, well, who's Mary? And she's like, Mary, wait, who is Mary? And like, she gets, it's very strange because it's like she keeps wanting, and it's kind of funny when she looks in the mirror, she goes, oh my gosh, I look like this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's not what she's used to seeing in the mirror. She's used to seeing, her Katarina, where she has long hair. She's kind of, a noble. So she has, the looks, the dress, the
Pretty,
accessories. Right.
pretty blue eyes, yeah. The very
So,
first one, which really was sad too, that she Anne. And after watching the previous episode, we figured out the feelings of the maid and then her.
mm-hmm.
Like, who is the maid? Like, who was Anne again? It was like,
Oh, yeah. She was trying to think of, she's like, oh, why didn't Anne wake me up? And she's like, but wait, who's Anne? Why would she wake me up? I don't understand this. So it's kind of a strange back and forth, back and forth. Um, and then it gets kind of intense because she starts talking to her friend, and her friend starts to talk sense into her. And
but it
as
wasn't
she's.
until before, though. Um, we might as well say that during all of this stuff that's happening with her in her old life,
Mm-hmm.
the other characters are all thinking she's gonna die in
Yeah.
their life right now,
Well,
actually.
they kind of go a little extreme. They're like, well, what if she doesn't wake up? They're like, then she'll just waste away. And I was like, that's a little intense. I was like, that escalated quickly. But as she's having this dream that you don't know if it's a dream or not, they, all her friends come to the conclusion where they're like, I can't just stay idly by. I need to be by Katarina's side. So they all end up in her quarters because it's originally just either her maid or Gerardo sitting at her bedside.
Hmm.
Um, but all of them end up being there, and Sophia, especially Sophia, she just wants to talk to her. She just wants to
Which
talk to her.
actually confirmed. We got confirmed. Sophia is her old best friend.
Yep, she is the reincarnation of her previous best friend.
Because while they were all crying and stuff like that, and Sophia was like, thinking, I'm gonna lose my friend. We heard her friend Achan say, I don't want to lose her again. And she's the one that tells Sophia that she needs to go see Katerina.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they go there, and Achan starts helping her
Yep.
reawaken.
Right, because she's kind of like the vessel in this dream to help her, you know, slowly show her the way. And then they
Hmm.
start to kind of have a conversation where it's just like them in a classroom. And she starts to have a conversation with her, and she tries to kind of make her remember, kind of a thing.
Yeah, she goes, this is not your world. And
Well,
that's
she
when
says
Katerina
that's
kind
this
of,
is not your world anymore.
yeah, it's not your world anymore. And then Katerina remembers.
Mm-hmm.
And she hears all her friends. She tells her, like, you have people who care about you who are calling your name, listen. And that's when she started listening. And then she heard Giardo, Maria, Mary, not Maria, Mary, and all of them calling for her.
Mm-hmm.
And then she reawoken as Katerina in her dream, thus ending that dream and creating the whole place into like just broken rubble.
Yep.
Oh, you put this scene here. I hate you.
I told you I was gonna hurt you. I said I'm putting one more image in this slide. I'm going to hurt you.
Oh, that one hurts.
It does, because it's like she finally gets to see her friend that she remembered and knows that she'll never get to see again, and remembering her and seeing her as herself, full Katarina, her new life, you know, it's and she knows there's literally no going back. I can't have my original best friend back ever.
Yeah, and this scene actually too, the whole time Achan was telling her, how she could help Maria, where she could find Maria at, and then also told her the secret name of the student council president.
Yeah.
And but all this time, so when they were separating, Katerina did think that she was never going to see her again, and she remembered that she ended her life not ever being able to say thank you and goodbye to Achan. She just
Mhm.
remember her last message was, "I couldn't defeat the black-hearted prince," and that was the last thing she said
Mhm.
before she was killed. And so she thanked her and told her goodbye officially, and then
Mhm.
Achan, this part was like, thank you for being there for me too. Um, Goodbye for real. In Japan, that really heartfelt, really sad word, sayonara,
Yeah,
with
that's like,
tears in her eyes.
yeah, that's not just like a see you later. That's sayonara is like I think the first time I heard sayonara, um I didn't know what it meant. Like I knew what it meant, but I didn't know like the severity of it. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember watching, I think I was actually watching an old Lupin anime with my sister, and he said it at the end of the movie. I can't remember what movie it was. I couldn't even tell you. But my sister's like, "Oh, that's serious." I was like, "What do you mean that's serious?" And she goes, "Sayonara." I was like, "Wait, what do you mean?" And she's like, "That means like goodbye forever." And I was like, "What?"
Yeah, I figured that out too. And so when she said that here, then she cried and said, "My dear, precious best friend."
Mm-hmm.
And I bawled so hard this whole scene.
Poor
I'm
Wintie
just
had a
crying
moment,
so much.
and then cue your family walking in saying, "What is wrong with you, child?"
They did actually.
That usually
I just have
happens to me
tears
when I'm
streaking
like
down my
bawling.
eyes. No big
Oh
deal.
yeah, they're
I'm just being hurt by this anime that I wasn't expecting it to happen at all. No
right.
big deal.
No big deal. She just literally is saying goodbye forever to her like literal best friend that like was the only person that she could really relate to in her previous life. No big deal, you
No
know.
big deal. I just have, my eyes are sweating. I'm not crying.
My eyes are sweating. It's humid. My eyes are sweating.
Oh,
You wanted to be
but it
cheap
was
that
enough.
you wanted to be cheap that day and not turn on your AC.
Oh, yeah, no, it is expensive.
Yeah, right? Electricity, man, they it gets you right in that summertime. It just sneaks up and you think, "Oh, this is great." And then you see that bill and you go, "Oh."
Not worth it. I also let my my eyes just sweat.
Yeah, I'm trying to cool off my eyes. It's hot.
But yeah, that scene, heartbreaking.
Yep.
But then it leads to good stuff. So
Right. And it's also a good scene because since she had such, I don't want to say regret, but she just, when you don't get to say goodbye to somebody, like, you know, not to try to get too serious or anything, but I'm sure everyone in their life has had something where you couldn't have the goodbye of a loved one the way that
yeah,
you wanted to have that goodbye. Or you just never got to either prepare or, I mean, especially since she remembered and she knows her best friend is long gone. Like, for all she knows, this could have been thousands of years ago. She doesn't know what the gap is.
yeah,
So to know and kind of remember something like that and remember a friendship like that, like, and just never actually get to say goodbye, but being able to have that chance, like, it's like she doesn't want to. She would want to stay in that world potentially forever, but she knows that the life that she's going back to,
she has loved ones as well.
right, she has new friends, and even though it's not her original best friend, she still has essence of her best friend with her in this new life.
Hmm.
So,
I mean, she didn't actually tell Katarina, but she did confirm when after she said goodbye, my dear precious friend. I'll be with you from now on as Sophia.
Mm-hmm.
And oh god, that scene just like really hurt me. It got to me so bad. I I'm very glad they got a chance to say officially goodbye though. It was like
Mm-hmm.
closure for like her old life.
Yeah.
You know, she did also say that her I know when she was like thinking about that time, she was like, "This was like my what did she? How did she word it? She was like, my family, even though they can be annoying, they're what I'm used to, what I'm comfortable with."
Mm-hmm.
And so I definitely think that having this happen to her was probably really really hard as well too. Realizing now officially that she has to let go of this past.
Mm-hmm. It's not something where, because she still thinks she's just kind of playing the game, you know,
Hmm.
she's still, doing things and, monitoring things based off of how the game goes. So to her, she probably hasn't really realized that you're not really in the game, Katerina. This is actually your life.
Yep.
So I think by her having that closure a little bit had allowed her to kind of move on from that and um, kind of, even though she's still thick-headed towards the end, she kind of kind of realizes like this is, there there is no game over where I'm going to go back to school and tell my best friend that, I got game over, I died, or I got banished, or whatever happened in the game. Like this is really moving on. So it's like you said, it's her closure.
Yep. So then after that scene, we have her
Mm-hmm.
wake up,
Yep.
and everybody's all happy that she's alive. She woke up again, and she automatically her very first thought was, "Gotta go see Maria."
Yep. I know where she's at. And they're like, "How do you know?" She's like, intuition? Do you buy that?"
It came to me in a dream.
Yeah. They were like, no, don't think that's how that happens, ma'am.
But they listened to her,
Yeah.
and they
They're like,
went.
you know what? She's a little crazy anyway. Maybe she's just that crazy. Just roll with it. I mean, what's the worst they could lose, you know?
Hmm. So they went to an abandoned hidden storage place in the school grounds,
Mm-hmm. And they find a hidden
and that's
room.
where they come across the hidden room. They're like, it really existed.
They're like, this is real. She's not just that crazy.
And then we fast forward to we meet Sirius Duke. Well, she and then she comes across Maria there. She is actually hidden there,
Mm-hmm.
cuffed to the bed, no, with her feet. How dare he?
No Toma type vibe going on at all in this.
At least there's no cage.
I mean, could be considered a cage. It's a hidden room.
Almost, yeah, true.
It's like a dungeon. Dungeon is a cage, essentially.
Mm.
Um, but they, save her, and she tells them, Sirius is still here. Um, so she can obviously find where, the black magic is vibing from, I guess you
Hmm.
could say. I don't know how else to explain it. Vibing, leaking, miasma, whatever word you want to use. So they follow her to this door. They open it, and it's just their whole room is completely just dark. Dark magic everywhere, leaking everywhere. And there at the source is Sirius. Kind of going a little crazy.
Hmm.
So then we learn about Sirius. So
Again,
tearjerker number two.
expecting it. Oh my gosh, this series.
They like to give backstory and then kill you with the backstory. Like they like to just hit you in the feels. Um, so Wintie, what is dear Sirius's backstory? How did he acquire his dark magic?
Poor baby boy. So he was the son maid of the Duke family, the Deke family, and I guess so he was like an illegitimate son that the maid had with the head dude, and so because of that, the wife of the Deke dude hated the white Sirius's mom and him,
Mm-hmm.
and so she decides because her son was apparently dying that she wanted to go ahead and use the dark magic to go ahead and bring her son into Sirius, like taking over his body. And so to do that, she decides she's gonna get even with the Sirius's mom and use her as a sacrifice
Yep.
to acquire the magic.
Yep. So
And
essentially, sacrifice the maid to essentially, to her, she thinks she's killing the boy where he's not sick because her boy is sick because they look similar, to transfer his mind into her son's mind into his body.
mhm. And it was all done by a dude who was, I guess, was kind of being held at hostage in a way as well. He was the one that killed the mom and received the dark magic and then used it to put the mind of into Sirius. And then he was killed
Mm-hmm.
and by the mistress, the wife of the Deke family. And she thought that she was so happy thinking that her Sirius was in Sirius. But um
It's not how it works.
because and because of that, the evil dude, the dude that was used, that was killed there, we figured that he's actually the dark magic that's all around Sirius and was feeding him lies this whole time that his mother's last words were, grant me revenge, or, seek a revenge for me, avenge
Mm-hmm.
me. And that was they weren't the words that she said at all to him.
Nope.
And he figures that out after this part right here, that he figured out he was led astray by this dark magic dude this whole time just to get revenge,
Yep.
and that his mom wanted him actually to live for her, live a long life and be happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was hard. It was definitely not. It's sad because to live your entire life. Cause so what happened was the son, the sickly boy or the noble's son, was his mind was not transferred to him, just his memories. So he knows the memories between him and also the memories of the son.
Mm-hmm.
So he never actually was her son. He just acquired the memories of her son, but then acted like the son, essentially probably to stay alive.
Mm-hmm. And gonna get revenge because of the dude that was whispering in his ear the whole time.
Yep. That was brainwashing him the entire time.
Was not expecting this from this show, not at all.
Nope, definitely. I mean, I figured there would probably be some sort of like turmoil or something. Like something had to happen. I mean, it. Come on, she's expecting to meet her doom. There would be some sort of doom, but I didn't think it would be this. Like
Yeah.
it
Mm-hmm.
definitely wasn't this complete tearjerker. I'm gonna just slap you in the face a few times in the feels and just kind of roll with it. Like that's not definitely not what I was expecting.
Yeah, no, neither did I. Oh, and just to recap, this is already in the last episode. The recap.
Yeah. Sorry. Moved on. Last episode. Ready? Cue.
I just realized. Oh wait, yeah, it ended with the last episode that she was
And then
asleep. Ended with them coming across Sirius in that dark room. Okay, there
right.
we go. Now we're
There
in
we
the
go.
third episode. Last episode.
Now that we've gotten that corrected. So what Katarina does is she wants to save him. She knows this isn't really what he wanted. This isn't what he was manipulated. So her goal now is to try to save, I guess save his mind, from being torn apart, because he had his memories, he has the other boy's memories, and now he has this dark entity taking over his body. Because I guess since the guy died, he became the dark magic, and then took his body. So he never
Yeah.
really owned the dark magic, but the dark magic owned him, I guess you could say.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, so Katarina wants to get through to him and help him realize this isn't what you really want. You need to be yourself. Did we go through his actual name? Because we find out his actual name.
Yep, yep, yeah. Raphael
Ah,
Walt.
that's right, Raphael. Um,
Yeah.
so she kind of goes as Katarina does, just walks, saunters right on up to him. Just kind of was like, "Yo, calm down, bro." No, I'm just kidding. I'm trying to lighten the mood.
He called her like a saint. I remember, like he's like, "Oh, you're trying to help me, like you helped everybody else," and she's like, "I didn't. I'm trying to help anybody." She called herself, "I'm the villainess who's just trying to steal."
Yeah, she's like, yeah. So she essentially breaks the spell, so to say, or maybe defuses the dark entity that's in him. I don't know
I love
how
like some
else.
kind of light magic that happens. I think like the power of love, we can,
With the
friendship saved
power of
him.
love, power of love.
Cue the Sailor Moon song.
The 90s American Sailor Moon Power of Love song. Yup. Nothing can beat that moment. That moment was a little poppy for what was going on, but 90s. Um, if you didn't live through the 90s, I'm sorry, you missed out on a lot of great stuff. Um, um, so, yes. So she kind of breaks the magic away from him. He kind of gets taken away. I mean, he doesn't take it taken away. He no longer goes to the school. He's no longer student
he,
body president.
he turned himself in.
He turned himself in. He explained everything. Um, so
His that lady, the bitch, got what she could going to her.
right,
They turned her in, and so she got in trouble.
she got
Then,
exiled. She got her doom flag.
and then it just jumps all the way to their the second year's graduation, which is
Yeah.
apparently the end game. She said of the
Yes,
actual game.
this is the actual end of the game, because this is the moment where Maria is supposed to confess to one of the romantic interests. So she's kind of in the shadows, like, who's she gonna choose? Who's she gonna choose? Because she still is so dumb that she doesn't realize that no one has interest in Maria other than friendship. They all want her, male and female. They all want Katerina. So she comes up to Katerina, or not Katerina comes up to
Good
Maria,
job.
and she says, "Who do you like?" And she's like, "Well, no one really." She goes, "Well, if I had to pick, I like you." And then she was like, "Oh,
She's like, no, I don't mean it like that. You know, like you're a guy you're actually really interested in. And then she repeats the same thing over again. But then she quotes the exact lines she said in a game to
mm-hmm,
one of the male characters. So then she wanted to stay with Katarina forever.
mm-hmm."
And that was the answer that Katarina got.
And she's like,
Um,
"Oh, is this a hidden like friendship end?"
it was so dumb of her. I was like,
Well,
oh my
also,
god.
didn't she say, "Or is this a harem end?"
Yeah, it was a harem. Well, she was thinking it was a harem, and
It's
Giordo
hilarious.
and his brother were performing together for the graduation ceremony.
Mm.
And it was funny too because she was even saying, "I don't even remember a performance between these two happening in the old game.
She goes, "The
Is this the
performance
reverse
never
harem route?
happened."
I never played the reverse harem route. Oh no, what's gonna happen now?"
Yep. But so
And then she
she,
finds out thinks it's the friendship route, and because
yeah,
everybody is telling her that they want to stay with her forever.
yep,
Everybody does.
yep.
Even my boy, I've officially decided Nick's best boy.
Who? Nicole?
Nicholas best boy. I love him so much.
Oh, she has her best boy. He's the flirty, flirty one.
He's
He
just so soft spoken, okay?
he definitely is flirty, flirty. That's for sure. I should have added hearts and sparkles around him for you.
Oh, you should have.
You're like, oh, please.
Maybe in the final cut.
Final cut. Sparkle, sparkle, sparkle. So yeah, and then at the end of this episode, we get what do we get?
We get the what happened? What happened? Oh yeah, announcement for season two.
Confirmation of season 2. No ETA, but there is a season 2. So I think this is going to be more entertaining, so to say, because um
Now she's no longer in
in
the
the
game. We're
game.
expecting what's gonna
So
happen.
she can't really prepare herself. I mean, she'll probably still be gardening. She's still going to be getting fake snakes. Um
Actually, no, I think she sold her at the end, the very, very end, past the credits.
mhm.
She sells the snake that their gardener gave her.
Oh, I didn't. I must
And
have. I must have. Because you know what? I've been watching. I got logged out of my sister's Crunchyroll account, so I've been getting a. Oh my god, they play so many ads, and I was like, oh no, credits done.
yeah, but it was she sells it at the store. It's like a hot topic because it looks like a real snake, but she's selling it there now.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Um, but yeah, I think there was a special scene at the end of the episode too before the credits rolled in too, which kind of significant whatever that
Significantly.
word is. Significant. Well, it signifies. That's the word.
Okay, I guess you
But
could
the
say
end,
signifies that she knows that she's not going to meet her doom.
yeah, and like the end of the game, like it also confirmed that as well because when she was walking and she was like talking at the beginning of this, I figured I was in the game and I thought that this was the worst thing ever. And then I figured out that no, it wasn't a half best friends, stuff like that. It cued like flower petals going up to the sky, and she watched it. And I don't know. To me, that kind of was like that signified. Okay, you finished the game end, hurrah! And also like
Hmm.
a new chapter and what's gonna happen now. She's like, I don't even
Right.
know what's gonna happen now. It was so good.
It was. It was. Yeah. It's definitely. I really like this anime. It was. It's not. It's not a typical reverse harem type anime. So I think that's what makes it very, very different. And I think that's why it has become as popular as it is, in my opinion.
I agree.
Because,
So, Gwen, did it take where you wanted it to be? The series at all, though?
um, I didn't, I never really knew how it was gonna go because of how different it was. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it was hard to say, oh, this is how I want it to go. Like, most of the time with these kinds of animes, you pick a boy, you want that boy to be, best boy in it. But I feel like the way that it progressed, like, I want it to continue where there's not a boy that she picks. Because of like the banter between Gerardo and Keith, and then Alan, who is kind of slow to his feelings, and Nicole being like, I want him to have a moment in season 2 where he's just like full on just swooning her. Like, I feel like that would be kind of hilarious. And I love
Oh,
Maria.
I need that.
You're like, I need that moment. I love Maria because she's trying so hard to get Alan to ignore Katerina because she wants to be with Katerina, and but she's also supposed to be marrying him, but she wants them to not be close. It's
It's
hilarious the way that she
hilarious.
acts. And then Sophia secretly loves her and wants to be with her, but also wants her brother to end up with her and is like, I'm rooting for you.
That is the most adorable part too. I think it's she's just like you can't at the end of the graduation ceremony.
She's like, you still have
You
a
have to make sure you
chance.
come over because they're gonna fall behind the other guy.
You need to step up your game. And I feel like she only wants her to end up with her brother so she can be like they can be sisters and she can spend more time with her. Like, she's doing it for herself. She's not really doing it for her brother. It's
Let's be real.
let's be real. She's 100% doing it for herself. Absolutely. So, I'm excited for season 2. Hopefully we get it's not, like a 3-year away type thing. To me, I feel like if it skips a season or maybe 2 seasons, that would be a good break away.
Mhm.
But I guess we will find out eventually.
Yeah, I think it said I said by red 2021 maybe. I'm hoping honestly because it just would be nice. Like maybe
I
like
wonder if
summer of
it's.
2021.
I wonder if it says anything like on like Mal or anything like that. Probably
Mm.
not.
But I think definitely there was also another character who may become important in that was like behind Sirius at the end as well
Oh, I think I've
because
seen him on a few covers. Cause they
he's like
kind
a
of like preview, like kind of like, oh, it's music, it's the end, and it's like, it made me remember a little bit. Have you ever seen Sanrio Danchi?
yeah I did.
We're on the. I feel like it's spoiling. I guess not really. So towards the end of the anime, they show like the other Sanrio Danchi that they have. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like, ooh, if there's a season two, if we ever announce that, ooh, look what's heading your way. But I mean, there's not a season two, um, but it kind of teases that. So I think isn't he like has like blue hair or he
Yeah,
kind
he's
of
blue hair and he's the back with like the book or something like that when Sirius is like
yeah
freaking out.
he's
Which
gonna
also
be
he's another Sirius is officially now another
yep
route available now too because he did already kind of say he wants to stay together with her as well.
yep.
And that made Mary very, very mad because she's like, I have somebody else to compete
I
against.
have more competition. This is
And
not
then
what I was
Jordan was also
expecting.
like, in front of your fiance, you're flirting with somebody.
Oh yeah, and he starts twitching. He's like, "Oh my god,
It was so funny.
why is this happening to me?" But I feel like he just knows that she's kind of like dumb and special, and it's just funny. He's like, "Another one. You have romanced another one."
Mhm.
It's yeah, that's funny. But I'm excited.
Me too.
Excited.
Can't wait for it to come already. Like, I definitely think we're definitely going to get more of like the romance shenanigans in the next series.
Yes, I want it to
Um,
be vamped up. Vamped up.
yeah, me too. And I really want it like, to be like where she has to.
I want the more
Honestly,
awkward moments, the better.
they may end it next season. I wonder if they're actually gonna end it with kind of like the part where it's like they're all like reaching out their hand towards her, and she's like, "No, I have to have shoes."
This is my true doom flag.
I would love that, and
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it's such a. I'm glad we started it and we watched it, and
I know, because when I
if
told you about it, you're like, "What?"
yeah, I
You
looked at
seemed
it
a
and I was like,
little skeptical,
I looked at it and it was just like I kind of didn't really see it as like a something I would be interested in
and then you
at
binged like
first.
half the series.
It was hard not to. Okay.
Well, I'm glad that I brought an anime to you that you probably originally would have never probably watched until someone like was like, "Hey, you probably would like watch this," and you're like, "Really?"
Yeah, probably. Cause like it had the word Otome in it, but like lately, really, I've just been watching that I can really tell it's Otome.
Well, there's some animes that are out there that say Otome in the title just because like it has girls in it or something. I can't
Yeah,
remember. There's like one that's called like something something my Otome or something. It's just because it has like princesses and girls in it and but it's not like physically Otome related, so to say.
yeah.
So,
So, and I was like, there was a girl, there's two girls in it, so it's not a reverse harem. So wasn't really interested at first, but such a good show. It's so good.
mhm.
I laughed so hard watching the show
So
and the heartfelt moments.
so since we're I guess we should come up with a rating system. So, character wise, how would you rate the characters 1 out of 10?
1 out of 10. D.
10 being the best, obviously.
Mm-hmm. I would probably actually put them at like at
Like an 8 or 9.
yeah, probably 8 or 9 because like we know them enough, but we don't know them too much to really give them like a full 10 out of 10.
Yeah, cuz
Especially like Nickel, he's still very kind of quiet, and like we could like if we get more character development in the next season, which I'm pretty sure we should, then probably we could raise them at a 10 out of 10 because they're really They're really well developed. I really like the characters in this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I feel like it's already done so well with character development that they're just going to continue with it. But especially with that other character, I think obviously that character probably has some sort of connection to some or all of the characters in some way, shape, or form. So I think that's going to drive the character development with that.
I agree. Let's say story wise, what would you give? 1 out of 10.
Story wise,
Yes.
um, I guess the same, like an 8 probably.
I agree.
Because since it was following, there wasn't, I don't want to say it was following a story, like obviously, but it was kind of like we kind of knew kind of the roughly the path that it was going to take because it was based off of a game that she played in a previous life. So it's kind of
Hmm.
like we kind of knew something was happening and it kind of the same events kind of happened. So it was kind of like even though she herself was a deviation to the story still played out those same events, even though those events played out differently. But I think
Yeah.
now with season two, it's going to be just anyone's game at this point. Um,
I agree.
so I think that's when the Otome aspect of the anime is really going to come into play is in season two. Um,
I am ready. Bring it
Me
on.
too. But I mean, it's a really like overall, like the whole anime is really, really, really solid. I didn't feel. I feel like the only thing that left a little unsaid was that random wind magic because
Yeah.
it still doesn't explain like who did that. Like it doesn't show that it was Sirius slash Raphael if it was him. Because did they say what kind of magic he was supposed to have? I don't remember.
I don't think it did.
But also, if it
Yeah.
was him who had wind magic, why did he? Is that kind of like his "I still like you" type thing? But I'm now kind of you're driving me crazy kind of a thing because you're not giving me enough attention. Like I felt like that was really the only kind of weird plot hole. I guess the
Like
other plot hole would be since dark magic is so unknown, how did Gerardo find out about it?
that one probably could just be explained because he's no
Yes, well, he said,
he's like
but
a
who told him?
prince.
Yeah, but
I
he
don't know.
like that would be interesting to know. I mean, obviously, I mean that's probably not something that is really story driven to know, but I mean, plot. If we're talking about if we're trying to nitpick
Hmm.
flaws with the anime, because I feel like there's never a show that's perfect. I mean, it's a really good show. It deserves like high rankings, but if we're trying to nitpick, like those are the things I would nitpick. Like where did that wind magic come from? Sophia said it wasn't her. Maybe it was Nicole. Maybe Nicole just didn't say anything because he didn't want people to know or speculate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I don't know. That wasn't really explained. You're right.
I mean, obviously the dark figure, duh, we know who that is. But, I mean, I guess that's really the only plot hole, so to say. I can't remember. I mean, it really, when they talked about characters, like their past, like especially the side characters, like the maid, and then the character development for Sirius, and then kind of like it explained why they were the way that they were, and it really didn't. It's not like sometimes she's like, oh, well, she came from a broken home. You know what I mean? Where it's like, that's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Where we get that a lot in anime, where it's kind of like, oh, well, my mom died, and my dad, was an adventurer, so he left home early, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I feel like that's such, like, a crapshoot, or they're like, oh, yeah, my mom is just not around, or my dad's just not around. And it's, you don't really get why, but I
Yeah.
feel like the character's past. kind of reflects how they are. Like, especially when they're kids, they are the way that they are, but now they've developed into the personalities that they are now because of Katarina, because she was such a change from the original and bringing out like the best of all the characters.
Yeah, talking about the best. We did actually we got a huge development, I think, in Giordo's sense in this last the episode when she was asleep.
Mm-hmm.
When he was talking, he was like remembering thinking about her when she was, knocked out, and he was like, she caused such a light and she like brightened my world that was just dull the whole time. And I was like, oh my god, we're actually seeing like what he actually thinks.
Like, it's kind of like, is he just teasing her because that's what he does, or does he actually like her? You know what I mean? Like, is he just
Hmm.
doing it because he has that personality of like the Dark Heart Prince? Like, how Dark Heart is he? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but that to me feels like not he's developed into a much different character, and kind of seeing that and realize that he does actually have true feelings for her, and it's not just, you know, the personality that he had, where, I mean, obviously the characters and story had developed where he wasn't going to, try to kill her or anything like that. But I mean, what if he was kind of in a state where he could have gotten possessive or kind of weird, but it's like he's not, he's actually a very, very caring person, and he actually really does care for her. I want them to go like on a date by themselves.
Me too, with no keys to butt in.
I know, like send Keith like away on like some sort of family issue, and then Gerardo, he would take that opportunity to just swoop in and be like, "Okay, we're going on a trip. Goodbye."
Oh, he totally would.
Absolutely, he would. He would just be all over that. But I think it'd be
Yeah.
fun.
And scales of enjoyment, though, I give this show 10 out of 10.
Enjoyment wise, yeah, because of
Yes.
how it's just, it's not the stereotype that we get with these kind of shows, which is nice because as much as shojo and otome type material gets criticized a lot, I've actually met most of my otome friends on Twitter because of people who are like, "Oh, it's just another show for girls." And it's like, yeah, because how many shows are aimed towards men?
So many of them. I
So
don't want all
many.
those boob shots and panty shots, I could
Right.
go without that.
And so there's just so many, and so many are like long, like, not that saying those shows are bad, they're just not my preference. But also, it's nice to have something catered to a female audience and done so well that, say, maybe your guy friend comes over who also likes anime, and you're like, "Oh, let's watch this because you want to watch something like this," and he's like, "Hey, this is actually not that bad." I mean, they got married, they got the boobs, so at least they got her right. I mean, she's the one with the biggest
Yeah.
boobs. So, but like her character is just so
It's nice to
funny
Katarina
too.
because she has pretty one.
Yeah, but
Hmm.
Bert, Mary likes to flaunt them a little bit. You stick out a little
Oh,
bit.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And, like, we don't complain about it. I mean, like,
But it
we
fits her
put up with it. Like, half
personality.
the time, we always put up with all those stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's just so prevalent, and
All
it's
the,
just,
all the.
and it is nice. I was surprised that it was picked up as a Seinfeld dub. Like, I'm curious if they'll come up with like a nice box set for it or something. It'd be very interesting to see if that's what they do. But from what I've been seeing, there's a lot of people that seem to be into this anime from what I can see. When like Crunchyroll or someone posts something about it, like there seems to be a lot of positivity around it, both for males and females. So it's not just, I haven't really seen anyone complain about it. Like,
Hmm.
"Oh, another shoujo anime." Like, yeah, another shoujo anime to go with your 5 new booby anime that came out this season. So, yeah. I wonder if they'll do a simuldub for season 2.
I wondered. It'd be cool if they do.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't watched any of the dub yet,
Neither have I. I'm kind of
but
a little afraid.
I'm
Not gonna lie.
not saying that dubbed anime is bad.
Oh no, of course not. But I mean,
I
some of
just
them are.
really like this cast. I love all the seiyus, voice actors. I guess they don't really. Well, I guess technically Shota sings the ending theme, but it's not like. I guess they're called seiyus in general. They sing, they do voice acting, they do all kinds of stuff. Um, but like, just I liked the cast. I like the voice cast. It was all like all my favorite seiyus all in one bundle.
It was really
I
nice. They chose
can't
good voice
complain.
cast.
I cannot complain.
But you could possibly complain in the dub, you know. So I'm gonna check it out eventually. Not gonna say I'm not going to.
Right.
We'll
I
see.
mean, maybe, sometimes I like to watch dub because I like to watch anime without having to have my glasses on.
Same thing here. I don't like well I can't take off my glasses. I can't see anything without it. But sometimes I'm really lazy to read no subs, you know.
Right. Yeah, to just have to relax and just. Because, like, if I want to lay down on the couch or something and watch something, I can't watch a sub laying down. I have to sit up and read it. I can't.
Yeah, same thing here.
I can't. I have to be sitting properly as one adult should, but sometimes adult must not adult. So
We
we
adult
like
too much.
it, right? Sometimes you know what? I clock out from work, I'm done adulting. I come home, I come into my weeb paradise, and that's all I need. So,
That's our life right there.
yeah,
In a
our
nutshell.
lives. Our lives. But yeah, let us know what you think, what you speculate for season 2, how you would rate this show, character, story, overall. Who was your favorite character? Who was your best boy? Um, what kind of awkward situations do you want to see next year? I want to see all of them.
I need some scenes with Nickel. And same
I
with Jordo.
I want to see all those like stereotypical like Otome scenes where it's like,
I need some
oh,
Kabadons here.
yes,
Kabadon here, Kabadon there.
Kamadon Jam, yes. I mean, that's super corny, but I mean, it just would be funny because this show kind of plays out those things, but not in like an awkward way, but kind of like of course they would do that. You know what I mean? Like, of
They like
course
toss
that would.
Kabadons.
Right. And it's kind of like just because of Katarina's personality, she'd be like, what are you doing? Like, she wouldn't understand what they're trying to do is like, I'm trying to be a sexy man. And it's like, can I go eat like a cupcake right now? Like, that's all I want to do.
She's such a glutton. I love
She
it.
is. All she wants. She literally just wants to be a fat girl. That's all she wants in life. She just wants to garden and eat cake. That's all she needs.
In the next season as well, we finally have Alan who recognized his feelings for her
Oh yeah, so
in the
that's
second
gonna
to last episode. So now he's also
officially in
part
the
of
running.
the.
Ha ha ha.
So excited.
Me too. But that is our conclusion. If you ever want to follow us on the Twitter, you can follow me at cookingkoala2_0. And Wintie, where can they find you online?
You can find me at Yuki Hanabi X on Twitter and on YouTube.
Yep, I'll link everything below so it's easy peasy. Click, 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 and go. Oh, and what project are you working on over on your YouTube?
Oh yeah. So any of you guys are Otome editors out there, like for like CGs and stuff like that, I do have an MEP, which is short for multi-editor project available right now. You guys it's just a sign up video, so you just need to go ahead and go on there and fill out the form I have in the description, and then you'll be part of like the fun, and we get to make a huge collab together and post it online. It'll be lots of fun.
Yep.
So.
I'll link that video below so it's easy to click and find. And, I mean, I would imagine even if it's someone who's not experienced, even if they want to join the fun, it's all about
Oh yeah, I'm
having
not
fun.
picky. You guys enjoying it? we have lots of fun.
Yep. Even if you want to make a quick 2-second little woohoo, then I'm sure she'd be like, thanks. Because you know what?
Of course, we need to support each other here.
The
Because like that.
exactly, the more the merrier, in my opinion, especially when it comes to Otome and Shoujo.
Yes.
Yep. But we will see you next time. Our next project, we're not sure, but we're not going anywhere. So stay tuned.
You're stuck with us.
Exactly. All right. Well, thanks for listening to our ramblings for the past, I guess, hour. We talked a lot. So have a good day, evening, morning, weekend, holiday, birthday. If it's your birthday, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.